This video will cover the last 5 topics in the book Mindfulness, written by Danny Penman and Mark Williams. During the first video, we discussed how mindfulness can reduce stress and anxiety, and how being on autopilot, where you're not being actively attentive, makes mindfulness pretty impossible. Then we reviewed different mindfulness activities, and teachers even shared their personal techniques on staying mindful. So mindfulness part 2 is broken into 5 different topics. The first is, our interpretations aren't reality. Second, how to accept difficult situations. Third, do not trap yourself in the past, instead live in the present. Fourth, finding joy in the everyday. And fifth, embrace your wild and precious life. So our interpretations aren't necessarily reality. Many times we interpret the world based on limited information, and then we react accordingly. But we need to remember that these interpretations don't represent the actual world. They're really our opinions. Sounds, like our thoughts, come and go out of our control. They can affect us and trigger our emotions. If you find yourself being overwhelmed by these thoughts, keep in mind that they are not reality. The sounds and thoughts meditation exercise can give you power over your thoughts. Begin by closing your eyes and focusing on the sounds around you. You might hear birds, traffic, or your neighbors. Try to experience each sound fully. Then focus back on your thoughts. Let them flow in and out just as you did with the sounds. If you treat your thoughts like sounds, we can accept them as always being on in the background and limit the intensity in which they affect us. Next is how to accept difficult situations. You might be struggling in a certain class or having problems at home. It's easy to push away problems and pretend like nothing is going on. In other situations, we might desperately try to solve the problem even when it's unsolvable. But these strategies can leave you worse off than before. To diminish the power of some of these difficult situations, we need to accept them. This way, we can give ourselves the space to understand the situation fully. Then we can decide how to respond. Here's an exercise that might help. Begin by slowly breathing in and out. Then deliberately think about a recent difficulty you had. You might think about a disagreement or any other situation you regret. Consider this difficulty and notice your body's reactions. Where do you feel tension or pain? Allow yourself to intake these feelings without modifying them. Then return to your breathing and allow the tension to release. The more you engage with difficult situations and successfully calm yourself, the less power they will have over you. Do not trap yourself in the past. Instead, live in the present. To move out of the past and into the present, we have to treat ourselves with kindness. We have to step away from trauma and forgive ourselves for past mistakes. For example, we often consider our negative thoughts a sign of weakness. We try to dismiss them. Instead, we need to properly acknowledge our thoughts and say to ourselves, "It's okay I'm feeling upset about this. I don't need to feel pathetic." Treating ourselves with kindness and allowing ourselves to accept our emotions can help us move past trauma. The next topic is about finding joy in the everyday. Some students constantly do schoolwork. Over time, they find themselves sacrificing doing the things that they love in order to keep up. Soon after, they become burnt out and less productive. We all have demanding tasks that we have to do, but it's important to ensure we keep doing the kinds of activities we enjoy. Otherwise, we can grow exhausted by constantly doing things that take away our energy. To see if there is balance in your life, do the activity written in blue. List all of the activities that you do regularly, then note which activities deplete you and which nourish you. A depleting activity might be writing an essay, while a nourishing activity might be artwork. Although not every activity you do can be nourishing, there needs to be a balance. If there isn't, try to come up with ways to develop nourishing habits. Mindfulness is about enjoying the little moments, and if we include these in our everyday, we're less likely to burn out. The last topic is about embracing your wild and precious life. Mindfulness is a process by which we live moment to moment. When we're mindful, we can feel joy at even the smallest accomplishments. But first, we need to officially decide to live mindfully. Perhaps you want to be mindful for your mental health. Or maybe you want to be more mindful to have healthier and lasting relationships. Whatever the reason, it's important to decide why mindfulness matters to you. Then you can carve out a few minutes to check in on yourself mentally and physically, and you can continue giving yourself opportunities to embrace your wild and precious life.